Hi everyone. Um, I know this looks like a weird angle to be shooting a video from, but I have to lay down this way because it's the most comfortable position for me given my hand injury. Um, and it's a bit hard for me to hold the camera with my right hand because I have tendonitis on my right hand and arm. Um, so yeah, but I wanted to record this video and let you know what's going on, why exactly am I all bandaged up. Um, so let's talk about this first before anything else. 2 nights ago, I was cutting avocado to put on pizza that my husband and I ordered. And when I was trying to remove the pit from half of the avocado, I was clumsy and stupid, and the tip of the knife I had put onto the pit because I was struggling to get it out, the safer way. Um, and obviously that didn't work out. I was in excruciating pain as the knife went through my hand, and I mean it went through and through, like from the palm to the other end of my hand. I seriously injured myself. Blood was gushing out. I don't even remember how I got the knife out of my hand, to be honest. But it happened, and I tried stopping the bleeding and screamed for my husband. He said that at first he thought I saw an insect, and so he didn't really make a big deal of the first scream or felt the need to get to me right away. But then my second scream for help, sounded like an extreme cry for help. So he ran down and saw me holding my hand up, and he saw blood, and he thought I cut my finger off, which thank God I didn't. But not that this was any better, because like I said, the knife went all the way through my hand. So, of course, he rushed me to the ER immediately with what happened, and I got to the ER. I was completely frantic. I was not myself, I was crying and crying and just desperate for them to see me and help me and do something about the pain because I was in complete agony. It's such a weird feeling, like there's numbness, this burning, tingling, sharpness, sensation all at once, and it just feels so horrible. And then the blood, you could feel it emptying out from your hand, like it was really disturbing. And so we got to the ER. The physician assistant assessed my hand, and he was actually pointing out to me that, as it doesn't seem to be the case, but it was actually better that I stabbed all the way through my hand than just partial, because it allows for an escape route for whatever bacteria had entered my hand that could be problematic and cause infection. So whatever came in could drain out from the other end easily, as opposed to if the knife just went partially through. Not only would it be hard for whatever came in to come out, but most likely it would have hit a bone or some other important internal part of my hand. And luckily I didn't get bone damage. They did an x-ray on my hand and there was no bone damage. I'm pretty sure the nerves got affected because I can't move my fingers all that well, but then it makes sense because I basically inflicted trauma on my hand. They had to suture me up. I have stitches on my palm. They didn't stitch up the other end because, like they said, they want to let out whatever is in, and that's the way for bacteria or to come out is through the wound on the other end. It feels really, really odd. And I'm so scared that the bleeding is just gonna like start up again and that it's really sensitive. I kept bleeding. The blood was hard to stop, so they kept having to apply the pressure. The nurse who was giving me my stitches had a hard time putting the stitches on because the blood wouldn't stop coming out, and he had to keep trying to control the bleeding at the same time. They gave me local anesthetic to put onto my hand, and that was so painful because, I mean, if you could imagine, I'm already in horrific pain from, what happened, the wound that I inflicted on myself, but then you're injecting a needle onto that same area, and it just was horrible. But my husband was so sweet, and he was massaging my other hand and just telling me, look at me, don't look at what he's doing, just look at me. And so that helped me so much. And the guys that were taking care of me, they were really nice and sweet and caring towards me, so that helped the trauma that I was going through. And I had so much anxiety. Of course, my blood pressure went like skyrocketing, like high, like it was seriously over 160. It was 160 over 100. It was really bad, like really bad. And I was scared. I was really scared because, given whatever wound I just happened or injury, I'm scared that my lupus is gonna flare up. It could very well happen. So I'm really sad about that, just because I've only began to get it going good again because I was getting sick on many different times since November. There's just been a lot of things happening. I mean, not necessarily sick, but my body has been going through different stuff. November I got sick with I don't even know what it was, honestly. Doctors assumed it was a viral infection, but it wasn't something that they could guarantee. And that brought changes to my platelet count, and to other things that I can't even remember on my blood work, but it affected my lupus for sure. And then in January, I had to do an ultrasound guided biopsy on my armpits to inspect an enlarged lymph node that was detected during the CT scan, because back when I got sick in November, they were also ruling out a pulmonary embolism because I was feeling severe pain on my ribs and on my chest, and I just couldn't breathe properly. Like, I was having serious shortness of breath. So they had to make sure that I wasn't having a blood clot happening at that time. hence the EKG test, the CT scan, the blood work, the chest x-ray, and all the things that I had to do. But then when I did the CT scan, it visibly showed enlarged lymph nodes on both my armpits. Because of my symptoms at the time, I was having serious sweating, night sweats, serious chills, nearly convulsions from high fevers consistently. I was having a fever up to 103 multiple times in the day. Even after I took Tylenol, it would stop, but then it would come back, and it was just really bad. So they had to rule out all these different things that were happening, and then of course consider, is it cancer? We gotta make sure. So I had to do a biopsy just to confirm that it wasn't cancer, because we have breast cancer history in my family. With the medication I take, as azathioprine, I am more prone to or vulnerable to the possibility of lymphoma, cancer, because it weakens my immune system in order to manage the lupus. So it was a very scary time in December, January for me, because I had to prepare myself for the possibility that something serious is happening. Yeah, that got done and over with, and we were able to finally confirm that it wasn't cancer, thank God. And I recovered for a good week from the biopsy. However, then came this hand injury about a week and a half after, which now I'm having to recover from for over 2 weeks. Hopefully it's not more. And the injury to this is so much worse to the biopsy that was done on my armpit. Yeah. What a crazy time for me. I'm hoping nothing else happens, It's just been so strange. Like, this experience of mine has been it was so surreal. Like, I felt like I was in a horror movie, and in those torture scenes where they scare the person by giving them this idea that they're gonna stab their hand like onto a table. I mean, that pretty much is the kind of injury that happened to me, except there was no table for the knife to get stuck on. The knife just seriously went through, and then blood came out on the other end, both ends actually. So yeah, it's traumatizing for sure what happened. I'll never look at avocado or knives the same way again. Anyways, I'm heavily medicated. Taking painkillers, antibiotics, my usual lupus medicine. It's not fun. And I'm here in bed, resting it out, recovering. I'm gonna be this way for a while. So wish me luck and wish me the best, and that there's no more complications with my hand or anything else, because it's beginning to be a little too much for me to handle, emotionally, mentally, physically. It's just too much. I will get going now and have an awesome day. I am so drained. I am so nauseous. And I do not feel well because I've been having to do these aggressive hand exercises every single hour since last last night, and it's just taking all of me to do it. It's excruciatingly painful, and like I said, like, I feel nauseous. It's so painful that it's making me sick to my stomach. It's making me sick to my stomach because it hurts, also because my wound on my hand is still open, and it's very, very painful moving the fingers and putting them in a certain form while I'm still feeling the burn of the open wound. It's not cool. Not even my favorite Chinese drama can make me feel better. I'm obsessed with Chinese and Korean dramas. I love watching them. They make me happy. But even that's not enough to make me feel better right now, because I'm just so overwhelmed. But I guess it's for my own good, because if I do not commit and push myself to the limit of moving my hands and making these certain forms on them, then I may never reach full recovery from my hand injury. I'm lucky enough that I could actually move it, and that the knife that stabbed through my palm didn't hit a bone. I'm lucky that I didn't have complete tendon damage, because, yeah, that would have left me completely debilitated. So, I mean, I still feel debilitated, but I mean, as far as the future goes, once all this has passed and the wound closes, we're talking about how my hands will function from this point forward. And if I don't do these special exercises and really, really be hard on myself, then I'm gonna regret it. As my hand specialist told me, my hand therapist told me. So yeah, I'm just miserable. Anyway, I'm gonna take a nap before the next hour hits and I'm back to exercises.
For our friends traveling along the 60 freeway through Montebello. So let's take you over to our Caltrans cameras so you can see the conditions. The car was sideways, sitting in a couple of those lanes on the 60 eastbound side, right about San Gabriel Boulevard. That's to the left of your screen. Everything is gone. I saw the drivers in the tow truck clear the scene, and the drive is actually starting to improve. The westbound side is usually that busy.
Ah!
I want to remind everybody,
Ooh,
about 2:30.
but I'm
Summer
trying.
before close. They wanted to reopen everything by about 6 and said they're going with 9 o'clock this morning. The closure